Well, hey everybody, welcome back. Today I decided to hang the tubes on this Eli Caniglia's sign. Clean off my workbench. Also have a kind of a safe place for them to live. But we're gonna need a little work before we can do that. Missing some, quite a few little tube stands that fell out during the transport. So I'm missing a few of those. Also some need to get wired up because it's wired from both sides right now. The housings in here. Some of the housings are a little worse for wear. But like on this one, you can see it's both sides are wired together. I'm just gonna wire it so one side gets lit. Also, there's some of the housings are broken, so missing some pieces off the back on this one. The attachment, the spring attachment point there. So it needs a little attention before we can get that fired up, and we'll get into it. All right, I'm going to start by replacing some of these broken housings. You can see it's like shattered here on the bottom. And to do that, what we got to do is remove this outer ring. I thought I can get my hand out of the way. Move the outer ring there that's holding the glass to the sheet metal. When they're rusty like this, sometimes it's a little easier said than done. So we'll get you on a stand and see what we can do. All right, we'll first I'll just see if I can get it off by hand. Sometimes we can. Not sure why this wire is here, because this is not any sort of way to wire up anything. See if I can do it without getting in your way. Problem is there's a little a support there that this is screwed onto, so that's kind of difficult to get any leverage. Oh, there it goes. Got to turn. Sometimes I just gotta wiggle the housing until it loosens up. So here's the ring, and the housing comes out through the front. So and it's supposed to have a little copper or brass metal attachment here where either a spring or this one happens to be a tether housing. These are called these are number 300 housings. It's the versus the size. But I have a few spares. I'll probably just actually grab one off the other side. Get it put in there. Thought I grabbed snagged a couple here from the other side of the can that are functional condition. But you can see the bases are loose. So this crimping is loose on that ball joint. I'll work on that with the pliers and see if we can't tighten those up. All right, so I messed with these a while, crimping back and forth. With the pliers, it's hard to do because you're always squishing it out of round one direction or the other, if that makes any sense. I was able to get it to the point where it only tips down, so I can it resists movement backwards, which is all I really need for this application. Let's see if you can see it, right? So it resists movement backwards, so the electrode cap will be pushing on the spring. But since these are old and a little oxidized, nice patina though, I just decided to hit them with the brass wheel and on the Dremel to clean up the threads and stuff a little bit. So we brought some eye protection. Anyway, you get the idea. You finish these up and get them thrown in the can. And installation is quite simple. Reverse of removal. Slide it in and put the retaining ring on the back. So get threaded in there. All right. Onto the wiring. All right, looking inside the can at this old wiring, it's looks kind of like, just household solid single-stranded copper, thin insulation, probably rated for 120 or 110. So yeah, I'm gonna be replacing it with GTO, 15,000 volt GTO, so should be a bit of an upgrade, I think. Let's get this old wire off of here. Is and got a bit of GTO here. Make a little loop to go around the attachment point there, like so. Get this on there. There we go. Cap and the nut back on. Am I doing it right? I can't see. Maybe you can't either. Don't drop it. There we go. Got it threaded on there. Nut driver to set it home. There we go. So the electrode will just go right here. Attach that, and I'll on down to the next one. The old wiring off of here. Ooh, nuts in there. So, what do you think? Rated for 15,000 volts? Debatable. And I got the GTO strung from the other housing. I'll probably cut it about here. Give myself a couple inches to work with. Measure twice, cut once. go. Yeah, maybe a little more. Get in there. Ooh. Doesn't like GTO. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. It's 14 gauge, but I'll use 12 to avoid breaking any of the strands. And now I'll switch to 14. There we are. That should be about it. Wrap that around. You want the GTO to be as short as possible. Runs a GTO between the housings, so because obviously more wire equals greater resistance. Is my head in the way? Hope not. All right, there we go. A couple inches of slack, but that'll be all right. And then we do that a couple more times. All right, I got the can housings wired up on this side. Moving on to the tube stands. Since these fell out of the metal brackets here, I've just been giving a little squeeze, tighten them up, and then push them back in. It's probably going to be oriented like that, if I had to guess. Of course, once we get the tube over here, we'll have to check. But just doing this. Oil can. All right, and then I'll continue the rest of them. All right, so cut away for a bit. Got a couple transformers hooked up to the sign. Got a 9 and a 12,000 volt transformer. Checking the tubes, making sure everything looked good. Putting caps and or buttons onto the electrodes. Got a cap, buttons. That's an electrode saver. And this one needs a button here. That's what I'm talking about. This slides over the wires and increases the surface area when contacting into the spring housing. For example, so more surface area contact on the spring. No big deal, but you may notice all these electrodes appear to be the same length, except for this one. Whoever made this tube put short electrodes on it. Taller, shorter. This will not even reach into the housing. So, at least to contact the spring. So I kind of thought about it for a bit and did a bit of a jerry rig on this, like a pigtail housing here with a wire that'll come out, and hopefully I'll be able to attach the wires like this and have the current pass through that way. So Gonna pop this housing in there on the eye, that's part of the LI of Eli, and we'll see if that'll work for us. All right, so I got this housing in here with this little pigtail sticking out, and since this seems to be our problem tube, I'm gonna go grab it and we'll do a test fit, make sure it looks good. Yeah, you see it's only going about an inch into the housing. That's definitely not enough. So, yeah, that should work. If I can get this. He's wrapped around here. One-handed. I was gonna hold that tube for me. All right, and push that back in there. Got some tie wires sitting right up here for this very occasion. Let's see. This is not easy one-handed. Too much pressure on any part of the tube because they are very, very fragile. I really hate breaking tubes. I think this tube was from the other side. Doesn't really quite match up to the tube stands. But that's okay, they're adjustable. So, etc. I'll put the rest of them on. These double stroke letters flex a lot, and it makes it kind of stressful when installing, but I think I got it without breaking the tube. Yeah, okay. So, we only have like 8 others to do. Check this one out. It's a really crappy tube. First of all, how about that? I don't want to do a housing bend, I'll just do a bad double back. Look at this crap bend. Awesome weld. Yeah, whatever, it works. I'll have to run some GTO from that housing. It's about the only way you can do it. Besides like drilling another housing. Psst, not gonna do that. Alright, so we got this lame tube wired with GTO into the housing. And now we got to connect the tubes to each other to complete the circuit between these electrodes. In lieu of GTO, which would be kind of ugly looking on the front of there, I decided to use some glass tubing. Glass is an excellent insulator. So I'll run a wire inside the tube, and what do you think? Maybe that much? Let's go polish it. Alright, so when you cut glass, you end up with sharp edges, and what I'm doing here is a process called fire polishing. You stick the cut end of the glass into the flame and melt off the sharp edges. As you can see, that's all it takes, just to smooth out the edges there. Alright, so got some copper wire run through the glass tubing. I'll just twist it onto the electrodes here. Not sure if these tubes originally had, if these were just originally a single tube connected with the double stroke. It's kind of a mystery, but the original configuration. But I don't know, it's a little bit better looking than GTO, I think. So do that a couple more times to get these other tubes connected. All right. Got the tubes all connected to each other. The transformer's all wired up. And I guess all that's left is to turn it on. Let's see if it works. All right. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, look at that. Eli Caniglia. That's awesome. Full frame view of that. Eli Caniglia. Wonder when the last time this lit up. Shining on Pacific Street. Awesome. Well, there it is. Anyway, thanks for joining me. It took a little while to get this fired up, but it's looking good. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for future updates, more neon-related videos. See you next time.